Facebook, but it's streaming to like 7 different places just for archive purposes.
Sure.
So it takes a little while to get set up. I just bought a new fish tank. I'm gonna move my fish food so I can see what the hell I'm doing.
Salt water or fresh water?
Fresh water. I'm not good enough for salt water.
People think fish are easy. They're not as easy as you think.
No, they're really not. But like I got really easy shitty fish. So like I got tetras and stuff.
Well, we are now pet free. We had to take our 19-and-a-half-year-old kitty to her eternal home last Friday. I mean, she didn't suffer, and she, 19 and a half years, she just stopped eating,
time.
And,
yeah.
We were sad, but we came to peace with it.
We lost 2 animals last year. Probably a 14-year-old Chihuahua. It was Jason's dog, my son's dog. And then we had an outside. Amazing. Yeah, it lived a long time. And then we had an outside cat that came with our house. When we bought our house, it was a little, like as soon as we signed the papers, we stepped on the property, there was a little kitten that climbed out from below the house. And we could never catch it. And it took like a year for us to become friends with it, so we called it Friend. And then it was like January 31st. It was just before the year was over. It got hit by a car. We're like, damn.
Oh, no. That sucks.
Anyway, we're live
now.
Losing
animals.
We started this very depressing.
Yeah, that's kind of a somber way to start. But, we celebrate our life. I'm making our little shadow box that we can put on, with her picture and her paw print and stuff. We're going to put up on the wall. And
yeah, we got one of those.
20 years with an animal almost.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
They become part of the family.
All right, now I'm getting notifications at Facebook and
everything is live.
YouTube.
Eventually people will come in, we'll start getting comments. That hasn't happened yet, but soon.
That's all right. Nobody wants to talk about Milwaukee anyway. It's so boring.
It's a bad city there, Mike.
I don't, Lake Park or nothing, right?
Well, I mean, it feels that way from what John said from the image matches, which there aren't that many, and the first matches it matched pretty well to Lake Park.
Well, I got some good ones too, but
see,
man,
here's the hurdle that Milwaukee people have to get over to get past Lake Park is yours have to be good enough to beat John.
Well, what I remember, it was that the face of the lion was an inspiration.
Yeah.
For the woman?
No, the face of the lion is in the painting in the woman's cloak. Well,
right.
So John said 2 things. The face of the lion's in the woman's cloak, and that or 3 things rather. The face of the lions is in the woman's cloak. Josh Gates was correct about the lion in the painting. And that Josh Gates was closer than he's ever been before. Which people are like, well, he's never found a cast before. But that's not true. Because like before filming that, he was standing in the Fountain of Youth, and that's pretty damn close. That's within a mile and a half or 2 miles of almost anywhere in St. Augustine that you would want to dig. So it's difficult. It's difficult to get around John.
Unfortunately, they don't show everything from start to finish there, so you don't know where he was before.
Yeah.
You follow the traditional route.
But John also said that way after he had filmed all the other episodes too. So, I mean, he said that during Josh Gates Tonight. They had already done what they had done all of them, right? I think they had also done Boston at that point.
It could have been, yeah.
I think so. I'm not sure. Was John talking about when Josh was standing there at that point in time, or is he talking about all time? Does it really matter if if the lion's correct and the lion's in the painting and Josh was right about the lion and he was standing directly at the lion and John said that he was closer than he'd ever been before, does any of the other stuff matter? Or are we just like grasping at straws trying to make John incorrect so that our ideas are correct? Like that's the the question you got to get past with Milwaukee.
Right. And boy, there's a lot downtown that image match. So like every step you go,
dude, I don't disagree. And like that line in the poem, the one that always gets me for Milwaukee, like the easiest way to get me away from Lake Park is where it says there's a letter from a country, right? And there is legitimately a letter from a country downtown.
Oh, this one is, I had my team, the newest member of our team, he's the only other one that got the Zeidler. At that point where, now I gave away my ending, but where we're standing, you used to be able to see the downtown post office, and I can't
We're doing Postman Square.
Find out the exact date that the addition was built on top of this building, because I'm thinking you could have seen United States Postal Service.
Yeah.
I mean, but this other gentleman, Joshua, part of my team, he came up with something that it's esoteric enough to be there. Yeah. I mean, it's not like the 10 by 13 in Chicago. It took them a while to figure that out. They had to walk around that park, kind of.
Yeah. And I mean, they were kind of in the same spot though. They were walking around the park, but they were in the same 20-foot area. Just in that same corner.
Right, but it took them a while to figure that 10 by 13 out, and it's
when they still did. But yeah, I get you.
Yeah, I've walked this thing multiple times with my cousin-in-law Colin. We've been down there countless times.
You do have people watching, by the way. You just don't have any comments. So somebody say, like, once you jump in, just say something so I at least know the comments are working. Because the comments on the screen are janky and sometimes they break. And if I don't know, then I never fix them.
You're kind of lagging, but I think that's my fault.
Yeah, your connection's not great. But, we'll figure it out. Can you hear? If it gets too bad, just turn off your video.
All right, I can always switch to my phone too. That seems to have better.
Yeah, a lot of times cellular data has better than like Wi-Fi and stuff, especially with limitations for computers. But if it gets too bad, just turn off your video, and then you can switch to your phone. Whichever.
Yeah, either one. You just tell me when it gets horrible.
Well, I won't know if it gets to where you feel like you can't have a conversation because it's lagging too much. Yeah, we'll jump that hurdle when we get there. Yeah.
It's just like when watching a Japanese movie. Your lips are moving, and then you start talking right after that.
It's because I got you don't know this, but I'm really a ventriloquist dummy, and then John's standing behind me, and he's really just giving you all the answers.
With his hand? Where's his hand?
You don't want to know. You don't want to know.
Okay. So, well, you want to just listen to my Milwaukee theory first?
Yeah, man.
And then we can talk about it after?
Sure.
Then I have to go down to the screen share just to share the images. Well, I don't have to do that quite yet. Excuse me. So, there's what do I have here? Like 1, 2, 3, 4 different sections, basically. So view the 3 stories of Mitchell as you walk the beating of the world at a distance in time from 3 who live there. So you got to pick somewhere to start. And I started at City Hall because that's in the background. Now on the 9th floor of City Hall is what's called the viewing deck. So, okay. You used to be able to get up there. Right now it's closed. Maybe once a month they let people in there, but I'm going to actually, now I need to do my screen share because I have an image from there because they couldn't get up there. I'll try this again here. So from there, if you look to the south, you can see the Mitchell building that's located 200 East Michigan. But you can only see the top three dormers. That's the exact picture I needed right there. Try to zoom in on it a little bit.
Huh? We can't see your screen share.
Maybe not. Yeah, there it is.
There's
Three
no screen
stories of
share.
Mitchell.
You haven't screen shared, so we can't see.
What's that?
You aren't screen sharing, so
There's
we
no
can't see
screen.
what you're saying.
Oh, why am I not sharing? Yeah, I got you. I'm trying to figure out why it's not sharing.
I just found out 12 Treasures is all funky. Something happened. It's not funky on mobile. Did we lose Mike? We did. He'll be back. Till then, 12 Treasures is apparently funky on Firefox. I don't know if it's funky on Chrome. Anybody want to go to 12 Treasures and tell me if it's funky? Mainly the city pages. I think the main page is okay. Yeah, main page is okay. I went to Milwaukee and it was all screwed up. Oh, Charleston's okay. Maybe it's just Milwaukee that's got screwed up. Maybe Milwaukee's just the redheaded stepchild for today. This is bad. Yeah. Gotta figure out what happened there. Let's look at Roanoke. Roanoke seems okay. Huh. That's weird. So, Andy, yes, we lost him. I'm assuming he will be back. Uh, I'm gonna send him a message. No, you disconnected, right? That's the thing with like tech stuff. Like, just sometimes, man, sometimes. Um, huh. So now we wait. Nothing interesting happened this week. Anything interesting happened for anybody else this week? I've got a message. Let's see what that says. Yes, efforting to get back. He's trying. It's the hard thing about tech. Sometimes. Tell us some of the history of the secret about Milwaukee that you know. Website looks fine for Milwaukee. Okay. Well, maybe it's just me that maybe there's a plugin that I've got that's screwing something up. It's like it's weird for me. The on Milwaukee, so you have the top bar, the banner, the top navigation bar. It's all like blown out and weird. Um, so it could just be a plugin that I have. Like who knows? I'll have to dig in. Or it could be a weird cache. Who knows? Anyway, history of Milwaukee. I mean, as far as I know, everybody's always been in Lake Park in Milwaukee, like in the beginning, in the olden times, before the sun was created. The old hats were in Milwaukee, or were in Lake Park, and nobody's ever really deviated from that. There was a couple of people who were on sort of the right side of Milwaukee. Like if you go up the grand staircase, you can either hang a right or you can hang a left. Hanging a left takes you down to the Lions Bridges and it takes you to the North Point Lighthouse, or you can hang a right and you could just get lost in the trails and go wherever the hell you want. A couple of people got lost out in the right. Okay, Mike's back. Woohoo! Can you hear us? Are we good? We're back.
Oh, am I back, baby?
You're back.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I thought we had this all worked out, and that was entirely my fault. If I send you those pictures, can you pull them up?
Yeah, sure. I can try.
I don't want to risk it again.
Yeah, no problem.
So I'm gonna try to send you.
Here, why don't I just go to your?
I don't know what happened. We went through it, and my connection kind of sucks.
Is your
But all right, let me.
Oh, you don't even need to send them. I've got Album Secret here on your Facebook page. I can just go there.
Yeah, there you go. There's one aerial view.
It might make
perfect.
Things
but if you now you heard the first part, you're looking out the viewing deck. You see the top 3 floors of the Mitchell building. It's 200 East Michigan, so it's directly south of there.
Yeah. I'm going. So we're looking.
That's right.
What am I looking for? What's the viewing?
No, it's going to be the picture 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The last one on the top line, all the way on the right.
Ah, okay. Let me see if I can't make this a little. I guess I.
That's the one. So you see that kind of fancy looking building kind of halfway down there. That's the Mitchell building. You can see the very top floor with the top dormer, the next floor, and the next set of windows. You can't really see the other windows.
Okay.
The 3 stories of Mitchell. It's also, that's my direct correlation. It's also a building where he ran 3 businesses out of, 2 businesses, and he was a congressman. But you can also see the Pabst Theater and multiple other things along this walk.
Uh-huh.
So that's my 3 stories of Mitchell. You're in the clock tower. So as you walk the beating of the world, downtown, it's kind of like the beating heart of the city. At a distance in time, you're right under the clock. That was my clue to use that clock and the viewing deck.
Mm-hmm.
And then from 3 who live there, there are 3 founders of Milwaukee: Juneau, Kilburn, and Walker. And there's only really one point if you find these historical maps, and I haven't found one that actually has it all together. But if you piece them together, right around 2nd Michigan, 2nd and Everett Street, or Plankington, it was called it back at that point. But right at that point is where they all met. The only point they all 3 met. So now, the next section: at a distance in space, from woman with harpsichord silently playing, step by nature cast in copper. I took at a distance in space, meaning you need to go somewhere instead of being far from somewhere. I took it as you need to go somewhere from there. And obviously, the images from women with harpsichord all over the Pabst Theater. They have the busts of women, different harps. Any downtown Milwaukee theorist uses this for women with harpsichord silently playing. And then step on nature. You could probably pull up that picture too, George, if you want.
Which
it
one?
Would be one of the next ones. I only have, you go back to the list of pictures.
I'm on the list.
And thank you for doing this. I can't.
No, you're good, man.
What's that?
What am I looking for? What kind of picture? What's it look like?
There's a bust of a woman. There's the big golden harp.
No.
There's a couple of them. There may be a video in there too. I'm not sure.
That one?
But anyway, the Pabst Theater is, if you look at it. I still have the same one up. Well, getting past that, step on nature, cast in copper, or I'm sorry, step on nature.
Okay.
What's that?
No. I was just saying we've got the one up.
Step on nature.
Got it.
Oh, I don't have that one up.
Oh.
All I have is.
We can see it.
There we go. Now you're looking for like that's there's the bust of the woman. There's right above her is a harp. and there's a bunch of this on the building. Also, on the doors and on some of the facade pieces underneath the neckline of the juggler, it's an exact match of that pattern. So step on nature cast in copper. A lot of people use the fact that you're on water and wells. Water streets your nature. You cast a penny into a wishing well. I never really loved that, but again, walking with Colin, my cousin, if you go east, or I'm sorry, if you go west from there, you get to one of the bascule bridges that they have that go up and down. There's a picture on there of a bell. But you get to this bridge, the very second picture. This one, right? That one right there would be the one. But that bell, I think, matches the bell in the hand of the juggler. And now these bridges, they all have like a copper patina to them. I know they're not copper because that's not going to make a very good bridge, but they're designed to look like copper. And if you walk over that bridge, it's like graded, so you can see directly below it. So now you're standing on nature. Basically, you're right over the river on something that looks like it's copper. But that's the bell that I think kind of looks like, and that's on that bridge. I think that resembles the one that's in the juggler's hand. But on that, there's also, well, from that point, you could have seen the very back entrance of the Grand Avenue Mall, which is our next stop. So you can see the next step, like from the viewing deck, you could see the 3 stories of Mitchell. You look down, you can see the Paps, you can see the big golden harp. You go to that, you go to the bridge, you see this bell. From there, it's ascend the 92 steps after climbing the Grand 200. That's the old address of the Grand Avenue Mall was 200 Grand Avenue. And the fact that the 92, the 200, and the 100, and then the 100 paces are actually numerically written versus, can you pull up the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th picture? It's the one right before the Plankington Arcade. This is something that I noticed on our last walk. I think that may resemble the dome behind the juggler's head. And you could see that right from the end of that bridge, right on First and Wells. Yeah, that one right there. It seems to me to resemble that the little bell behind the juggler's head. And it's a copper dome. And there's 3 of them up there. That's the clearest shot I could get. So from there, obviously, I said you see the Grand Ave. If you're from Milwaukee, by somebody from that city that kind of knows the city, you walk in the 200 Grand Avenue entrance to the mall, you look around, there's a set of stairs to your left. You walk up those stairs, it takes you directly to the Plankington Arcade. You look down, you see the 4 sets of spiral staircases, 23 steps apiece, 92. So the Grand 200, to me, Grand Avenue Mall, 92 steps. I mean, those are pretty solid numbers. This is where a lot of people that get there haven't progressed. I'm doing this for my memory. Yeah, that's the Plankington Arcade. And you see how the floors are decorated. The exit behind the statue, and there's an exit directly in front of the statue. There's a Walgreens now to the left of the statue. But to the right of the statue, it's now a pickleball court.
This is the worst arcade I've ever seen. You're just going to add this to list of bad things about Milwaukee. Worst arcade ever. Sorry.
Yeah. They used to have like a food court, and they had like a bear riding a unicycle, riding up and down. This is back in the 80s, 90s, and the stuff I remember because I was down there. But in the floor, there were these mosaics, and they kind of looked like almost compass roses. And there was one facing the west exit of this that to the right. I can't find a historical picture with it all the way in it. I can find an edge of it, but I can't find the whole thing. I have another gentleman who we met on this walk. He didn't know anything about this, and we were kind of talking about it, and he brought it up just in conversation without me prodding him to it. So it makes me feel better about it. I'm still trying to find an image. It's easier to find images from like the 1880s than it is from the 1980s. If you go try to find historical pictures, you know, anything like before the 50s or after the 50s, it's like that doesn't matter anymore. But if you follow that, it looked like a compass rose, kind of like a diamond shape with the little corners coming out of it. And I wish I had the picture. But if you follow that, you exit out the west exit directly under the first skywalk that was built in Milwaukee in 1980. Right at the curb. So you pass the compass, you reach the foot of the culvert, the curb below the bridge, the first skywalk built in Milwaukee. And that was there. That was a big deal at the time. There were all kinds of advertisements about how you're going to be able to walk from one end of the downtown to the other without ever leaving, without ever going outside, because winters here suck. So from there, you're right on 2nd Street, directly between Wisconsin and Michigan. So walk 100 paces southeast over rock and soil to the first young birch. If you take a left, which is south, you start walking that way. Right now, there's a big parking structure on the corner. It used to be birch trees lined up and down that street. There was a lot of construction up and down Michigan since then, but if you walked there was a little green area, and when we walked it, we counted both in our heads, and we got about a third of the way there. We looked at each other, and we're like, oh boy. We walked it probably 6 times, and we averaged anywhere between 98 and 102 or 96 to 103, depending on how we were walking. So we kind of accepted that as 100 paces right to that corner of 2nd and Michigan. Got us kind of excited because when I went into this walk, I was anticipating it being somewhere else, and I was kind of disappointed. But I thought it was going a different direction. But that worked out so well. Now we're looking around. If you know Milwaukee, the streets go east to west numerically, up and down. West of 2nd Street is 3rd Street. Past 3, staying west, puts you to Zeidler Park, the oldest park in the city of Milwaukee, named for a German mayor. It was Pierre Marquette Park back in the day, but back in the 50s, 60s, I can't remember the exact date, it was converted to Zeidler Park, and there are a couple of plaques in there. On the pictures, the one right after the arcade, that's the one in the park. Now, if you notice the shape of the edge of that plaque, and there's one of the Pabst Theater too, it's this one right here, that shape. Yeah, that shape right in the corner resembles that shadow on the left of the image right by the key. It's pretty much an exact match. And that is on multiple buildings as you walk through. There's another one that's from the Pabst. But a lot of the buildings have them. That one in Zeidler was actually erected in 1980, right in the right time frame. So you get there, and there's one image, George, I'm going to have to send you because I don't have it in there. And this is the crazy one. I just sent it to you. But I was looking around forever for the letter from the country. And I know you used to be able to see the post office. I'm pretty sure the addition to the Energies building was added before Byron would have been there. But if you pull up the one I just sent you, if you're able to, this is where the newest member, Josh Conrad, on our team, he brought this to my attention, and it's like, oh darn, why didn't I see that? Because I was looking, but I didn't see. I want you to tell me what you think it looks like.
Looks like a like a park map. I'm not sure.
Right, but what does the actual map look like?
Nothing. Looks like a park map.
An envelope? Could it be an envelope?
I guess. Sure. Sure, it could be an envelope.
Like the back where
yeah.
It feels like, you know, the V is like
yeah, no,
where
I
the
can
flap
see
comes down and and when he said that, I'm like, boy, that could really be a letter.
Okay.
That could be the letter that we're looking for. So now that's something that just came up. So now I have a couple of ideas where it could be in the park. So I'm not even 100% sure. And here's the cask that I have. I don't have one yet, so you know, you can take all this for what it's worth. But to me, that's a beautiful esoteric way of a letter from the country.
Okay.
Do you think it's too deep?
I think you got to ignore a bunch of stuff.
What do I have to? Okay, what do I have to ignore?
Well, so in order for this to work, right? So we're starting in the viewing area of City Hall, and we're viewing the 3 stories of Mitchell, but we're ignoring a lot of the verse. We're ignoring the fact that the verse tells you you're supposed to be doing that while walking the beating of the world. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with anything from At a Distance in Time, from Three Who Live There, At a Distance in Space. Someone in the comments did mention that, like, we're ignoring the secord part of harp. Like, a harp and a harpsichord are not the same thing, and they're not interchangeable.
I totally understand that one. As far as walking, you can actually get that same view from the street. There's just a new skywalk has been put in the way. I kind of have a picture of it, but you can still see that same view from down there.
Yeah.
So you can still be right on the street and see that.
Okay.
At this point, not as clear. I like the fact that you're in the viewing deck and it says view.
Yeah. I like the part that it says walking while walking, or as you walk.
Yeah.
So you got to
while you're walking.
When we're stepping on nature, we're not actually stepping on nature. We're stepping on something that's kind of copper shaped, but iron over maybe what could be nature. So we're ignoring the step on part and we're focusing on nature. We're ignoring the cast in part of copper and we're focusing on something that kind of looks like copper. We're ignoring the ascend and focusing on 92 steps. It tells you have to ascend 92 steps, not that there would be some there.
Okay.
We're ignoring the after climbing and focusing on Grand 200. We haven't got to. I don't know that we got.
Well, after climbing, that's you climb the steps.
Okay, well, that's fine. I don't know that we.
These are all.
I'm just going through because you asked. I'm just what we're ignoring.
No, absolutely. I don't mind it at all.
I don't know if we hit compass and reach and foot of the culvert, below the bridge. We did the walk 100 paces, but we did it southeast, but we ignored over rock and soil because we're walking on a street. There ain't no rock and soil. We ignored to the first young birch.
Like I said, there was a little park at the end there.
Right, but it says walk 100 paces southeast over rock and soil. We ignored the first young part of the birch, and because this street is just lined with birch trees, so we ignored the first young part. Past 3 staying west, I get 3rd Street. See a letter from a country, maybe it's an envelope, but we ignored the from a country part. So it's like
the other one. There's that plaque in the park too. That was my original letter from the country,
Uh-huh.
because it was.
From a I don't from a, is it from a country? What country is it? That
Well,
was
it's a
those are
German. It's
just
about a German.
those are
Yeah,
just
no,
my
I
thoughts.
understand.
It gets tricky. Like I think a lot of people think that like I struggle to see anything sort of esoteric or tricky about the three solved huts. I struggle to see anything tricky about them at all. They're so dumb that John's like, well, it says Boston. Like that's the explanation that we get for those. And I feel like
Sure.
most of the time when people come and say these hunts are tricky or these hunts are esoteric or these hunts are um, vague, kind of, it's because we're leaving out half of the lines and we're just focusing on single words. So in this one we would be focusing on few of the three stories of Mitchell, and like,
Hmm.
but ignoring as you walk the beating of the world. Like we're ignoring the instruction part.
Okay.
Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. And when you actually walk it, it's one of those feelings like this feels like this should be right.
Yeah.
And again, I don't have a calf, so I'm not, not any expert, but it felt good. Um,
I mean, I've had a lot
and
of girlfriends like that. That doesn't necessarily mean they were the right one. You know what I'm saying?
no, I tried to just to go simple with image and following along, and I understand those things, and maybe I need to walk it again and keep all of those things in mind to have a
Yeah.
better explanation.
Well,
But
I think that's what things like this are for, right? We're just talking it out. So it helps make better
yeah,
explanations.
hashing it out. And what gets me is I think the whole community is divided into factions now, where you have, oh, you need to be all on the back of the book, or you need to be uh, do a deep dive research onto people who have written poems that reference certain things in the verses. And then there's the other group of people that are convinced that numbers are the answer
Yeah. Yeah. So,
without any other.
as much as I'm in the community, I don't think there are factions. I think there are the
Maybe factions is the wrong word,
no, it looks
but
like there are factions. It
yeah.
100% looks like it. But what I think there are is the vast majority of searchers and then a couple of loudmouths, you know? Because, like, if you notice the people who post in the main groups, I don't know about the other groups, but in the main groups, if you notice the people who post these wild off the wall things and the people who comment on the
Mhm.
wild off the wall things are all the same people all the time.
Three
And it's
people.
only
Yeah,
like, yeah, it's like 3 to 5 people. But they just post
yeah.
constantly, just every day, 4 or 5 posts. So it looks like there's a lot of activity, but the vast majority of searchers ignore it. And then when one of the, like, I would say more mainstream posts start, that's when it gets a lot of activity. And they just kind of ignore. So I would say there aren't really factions. Like there aren't really back of the book factions. There's just like 7 back of the book people who are loud.
I, I know a lot. Well, I know a lot of people that just say that everything. I shouldn't say a lot. I know more than a few, but they're convinced that everything is there, and that's something I'm trying to learn because I think there may be something to it, just like there may be something to the number theory if if there'd be a why behind just blatant statements,
I don't know
and
the number
that's what I try to find out.
I don't know the number theory. What is the number theory?
Oh, the addresses and
Oh,
numbers.
mm.
You know,
Yeah. So I've seen that, right? Like I've seen people have commented like there's an address on every single park, or like every single painting or verse has an address, and then they give me like 5 different numbers. Sometimes the numbers aren't numbers. Like they'll use the word to as the number two, and then they'll ignore like 7 other actual numbers that are in the verse, and then they'll give me 4 numbers and they'll rearrange them how they are. Like it takes a lot of effort to get those numbers out of, and then it never works the same way. It's always weird to me.
my problem. And
Go.
I've always tried to ask why do you put them in this order? Why can't I put them in a different order?
Yeah. My biggest gripe is if you go back to, I don't know how old you are, but I'm going to assume we're the same age because that's what I do with everybody. If you go back to when we
I'm
were
in my
kids,
50s.
okay, so you're a little older than I am. Let's go back to when we were kids and think about going to the park. How often did we
Mm-hmm.
use an address? How often did we even know the address of the park?
Never,
The park didn't
never.
have, it didn't have a sign on it that said what the address was, right? Like you just did, parks didn't have
Right.
addresses. How the hell are you supposed to know that? You know?
I guess you're assuming the address. There probably is an address for the park, but
Oh, I'm sure
back
there
then we didn't
is.
know it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's an address for the park somehow, but we didn't know it. And you couldn't
And
just
it's not
like
just
find
that. I
out.
mean, and there's no consistency to some of the. Oh, they use part of the zip code from this, and then you have to use the sister city, and then you use a number from that, and then you come up with this address, which is close.
Yeah. There's never any consistency with it. That's why I say there's no factions. Because
Okay.
when you have the people who look at the paintings and the verses in sort of the traditional way, the vast majority of users, there's a whole bunch of consistency. Each of them look at the puzzle and come to the same conclusions for the most part, right? Like we disagree on the last 25% of the puzzle, but the vast majority of the puzzle you look at independently and you come to the same conclusion. And then you have the other sort of loud French people who look at the whole of the puzzle and come to zero similar conclusions. Everyone is completely different. There's absolutely no
Great.
consensus. With back of the book people or numbers people or drawing lines on maps people, no consistency whatsoever.
That's the other one. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And I've been trying to find somebody for Lake Park that would walk me through their solution because I walked mine multiple times. It feels so good because you see a lot of imagery, and
yeah.
it's tough to describe what you see on this building, and you can't take it. Well, I could take a million photos, but it's just one of those things when you walk it. Yeah, this feels good. This feels good, and I understand that it's not 100%, but it
Yeah.
takes me to somewhere else. And I want to go. I want to go through this Lake Park walk
You've never had
the
anybody walk you
4 or 5 miles,
through like
whatever it
the
is.
traditional Lake Park walk?
But I want to actually boots on the ground walk it.
Oh, okay. Well, like at some point, I'll come back to Milwaukee and we'll do it. I mean, I'm assuming
Yeah,
sometime, probably not this year, but probably next year, I'll end up back in Milwaukee. Because I
yeah.
really
I
need
mean,
to
and I've
go
asked
to,
people in the groups that if you want to walk me through it, I don't want to watch your Facebook. I'll watch it, but I want to actually be there and see what you're saying.
yeah, I really want to go to Grand Rapids. Like I have a strong desire, and I have for like 3 years to go to Grand Rapids, and that's like right across the lake from Milwaukee, right? I mean, it's like a 4 hour drive, but it's right across the lake.
Well, you can take the ferry, and it'll only take you 3.5 hours.
And it'll cost me like $300 or something. From what I understand, it's
Yeah,
expensive. But
because
you
it's
know,
cheap. It's much cheaper.
going and hanging out with my friends in Milwaukee, and fuck, you come to obviously, and then after that, I'll just get in a rented car and drive to Grand Rapids. That's my plan. Having said that, I've told people that's my plan every year for like 3 years. So, but eventually I'm gonna do it, and then when I do,
Yeah.
we'll walk Lake Park, man. It's pretty, it's pretty dumb once you do it. Like it's pretty just like follow the directions, and then you end up at a spot. And then the problem that Lake Park people have is when you get to that spot, when you get to the first young birch, and then it continues to give you instructions, everything else is gone. So the last like 5 lines of the verse are gone. They're just lost to time. So nobody really knows, once you get to the end, nobody really knows where to exactly to go from there. And that leads people to second guess themselves and then go back and second guess other things. And then they go off on weird tangents. That's the bad thing about this puzzle. Like, it seems like people have a hard time just saying to themselves, it's been so long, this is gone. They have to say to themselves, like, this puzzle is so good, we couldn't have lost anything to time, I must have made a mistake, you
Well,
know.
if you admit it's gone, then why even if you that's the whole thing. If you don't want to give up that it's there, that's still there.
Well, the cast could still be there, it's just the stuff you're looking for is gone. So
Right.
it that's where it gets tricky in finding figuring out how to find out what's gone and where it was. And I feel like for years with this hunt, that was the sole purpose of the community, to figure out where stuff was. And somewhere along the line, some people lost their way.
Yeah.
That's where we get your
I wish there
factions.
was a better archival system of photos from that time period. I mean, back then we were running around, we didn't have cameras with us.
Yeah, we're working on it, trying. It's just there's not that much out there.
Yeah. Yeah, there isn't, especially that time frame. Back, anything before like the 50s, you can find some pretty decent images. I mean, not high quality, but there's a lot of them.
Yeah,
Anything from like the 70s, 80s, even into the 90s before the digital cameras. There's like nothing.
yeah. It's
People
weird.
care about pictures.
It seems like around 1982 people forgot that camcorders existed, and I think what it is it's you've got all of these like VHS tapes, right? Families took VHS tape videos, and it's difficult to get that
Taped over
VHS.
them.
Well, you either taped over them or it's difficult to get those digital. It's pretty easy to get like a film reel digital. You just take it to anybody who does film reels, they'll make it digital. But it's very expensive, time consuming, and difficult to do a VHS. So I think that
Oh yeah,
and VHS degrades so damn quickly. Like if you store it
I was
wrong,
just gonna say that.
if you store it wrong, you get mold and you can't read it. So like I think that's why
Oh
we have
yeah,
that
and
gap. I don't know.
plus, who has a VHS anymore? Who
I do.
even has a player anymore?
It's right there. But I'm the weird nerd that has those things, right? Like nobody has.
I
Nobody
think
has
we have one in
VHS.
the basement too,
But plus, like even still, like right after the big VHS came the micro VHS, right? Like all the little handheld camcorders in the late '80s, early '90s, and
that you had to
that's
put into the case that
yeah. You got
mimic
to
the
put in another
tape.
case to do. It's just one more step. So I think that's why it's just so tricky to find stuff from them. I don't know. I could be
Well, I
wrong
mean,
though.
in our era when we did stuff, we didn't take cameras with us. We didn't do any of that. There wasn't like the disposable cameras.
Yep.
Even the Polaroid cameras were stupid expensive, and your parents would not. Oh, you're gonna go do what? No, you're not taking that.
Yeah. You made sure every single one of those pictures was perfect before you took it, because it was like $1 a photo.
Oh yeah, if not more.
Yeah.
And then you had to shake them, shake them, shake them.
Those things are coming
But
back.
yeah, it was
Like
just
my stepdaughter's got a Polaroid camera now. It's like what the fuck?
they are. But one of my cousins brought one for Christmas. But it's the same.
It's the
The
same thing.
technology hasn't changed. It still
No.
takes forever to develop.
Still get really really bad photos.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because you can really dial in the lens.
But yeah,
So
we should totally do this. We should plan for like because this year I'm booked. I got to go to some Seekers Summit next month, and then there's a meetup in Charleston, and there's a meetup in Anderson, and then something else. But next year we should set a meetup for Milwaukee because we never really had like an official big one. We should just do that, and then we should just go to Lake Park, and we'll go to everybody's areas.
yeah, back Marge and I were talking a little bit before we wanted to set one up, and I just had joined the community, and I've known about this forever. And when I was a kid, I was probably just too young for it, but I ended up in the hospital when I was 11, 12, 13, that age. I had appendicitis and it burst as they were taking it out. So I was in the hospital for almost a week with the tubes up my nose getting drained out. And I remember that's one of the books that came through, and I kind of looked through it because the cover is kind of distinctive.
Mm-hmm.
Treasure hunt. All right, cool. I'll read this. And then again at that time, it didn't do anything for me. I came across it again years later in a like a half price books. I was looking for something because I used to read all the time. And again, I saw it and I kind of picked it up, and I should have bought it then, and I didn't because I think it was an original. This was back like 2000 ish area. And then the big thing for me was last January. I was making dinner and accidentally dumped a pot of boiling water on my feet.
Ooh.
So I had second degree burns. I was laid up for a while, and I started watching the EU again, and then I started watching some of the stuff online, and that's when I really got into it. And I was so convinced it was by the MacArthur statue, Proud Tall Fifth, and I ignored everything up before that. And then I was so convinced, I was convinced multiple times, and it took me actually going down there multiple times, walking through. And again, I'm gonna watch this again and write down notes as far as the comments, because I want to make it clearer, and I think I can. And it's just one of those things that this feels right. I don't know how Lake Park feels when you walk it, but when I watch the videos, it just doesn't have the same vibe to me. But again, here's my cask.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that. Well, we'll walk it. We'll see how you feel.
Yeah.
Um,
And then I told anybody in one of the Milwaukee group, if you want to, I'll walk you through mine. You walk me through yours. I just want to see what it feels like, because there's a different feeling when you say, oh hey, that's in the picture, that's in the picture.
yeah.
That's the hardest part for me for the Lake Park theory. And I'm not saying they're wrong. It's just that I don't see much imagery in there. Why wouldn't the lighthouse be somewhere in there if that's so important?
The
And
lighthouse is
again,
in the
it
verse.
could be right. I could be missing it.
So my thing about the image is there's only two things we know of in the image. We know that City Hall's in the image, right? And we know that
Yeah.
John said one of the Lake Park Lions is in the image. Those are the two things we know about. Everything else we're kind of guessing. I mean, obviously we know about Milwaukee, but everything else we're just kind of guessing.
Well, I'm telling you that the edge of the plaques, the historical plaques, really match.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's a one-on-one match.
Okay.
But
I mean, I'm not gonna disagree with you. I don't know.
yeah, it's so undetailed. That's the tough part. I put magnifying glasses on there, and
well, didn't Giver say this was one of the last ones that has nothing really in the image?
even from what you guys were talking about, I remember saying, "Hey, they had to rush through, like, was it Milwaukee Montreal's paintings?"
Yeah, that's why
there's right at the end. I mean, I tried to deep dive on like stuff hidden in the image, but again, I'll give credit where credit is due. You said you were watching John paint and he had his arm out. It's not like he's one of those painters who's really right there where he's
yeah, no, he definitely does not do this. He is very much he paints with his shoulder.
Right. So you're not going to get all those little fine details in there necessarily. I mean, it's not to say that he didn't maybe stop and.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some fine details. That JJP in the clock in the San Francisco painting is pretty detailed and tiny, but.
Well, there's one, if you want to pull up those pictures again, what everybody says is the locust. I did find a high res image of it, and I think it says 1981. It's in one of those pictures.
I'm gonna fight back a little bit on the high res portion of that, but I got you coming.
Well, I guess a digital image of it.
Yeah.
It looks like 1981 and like a cross, and almost like one of the signs, the park signs right there. But I don't know if I'm reaching for something there, but
yeah, I don't know.
I got to give credit to my wife on that one.
I mean, I kind of see what you're seeing.
I got to tell you though.
Yeah.
My wife, Carrie, her and I went down with my cousin Sasha and her hopefully soon to be cousin in-law Colin. We went down there. They like going walking with us because we always end up right by the 3rd Street Market Hall, where there's a barbecue, there's a bar, there's a burger shop. So we always end up having to do a tower of mimosas and some barbecue. So they really don't mind doing the mile walk. And my wife, one day, she was in the mood because we were doing that. She's like, "Doesn't that look like numbers?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it does."
Well, I mean,
But to me,
numbers
the
would fit with the
biggest
very
thing,
basic of the painting.
I mean, 1981 seems like the right time, but to me, uh, I've met two guys now, almost three, just from this, just online, that we have each other's numbers, and I talk to them once or twice a week, and not even just about secret stuff. And I think that's more of what this is all about, is just sharing information, meeting people.
Oh, dude,
You
100%.
know, you know, what are you going to get? You get you get the cask and you get the little gem. It's not worth in today's dollars what it was worth back then. And to me, it would go right into the museum anyway. I want to donate it to the museum as long as they made me a replica.
I agree with you 100%. It's so much less about finding these stupid what Joe Ellen calls an ugly flower pot buried in underground, and it's so
That's
much more about finding friends. Because like you said, you're in your 50s. Like
yeah.
how fucking hard is it to find people that enjoy the same shit you do? Like you like to fish,
I'm
like
losing friends more than faster than they're making them now.
yeah. That's like my dad. Like my dad loves to fish. He goes out and fishes. It's a singular thing. He doesn't meet anybody. He doesn't have anybody to hang out with. This at least gives you people who are like-minded. It gives you something similar to talk about, and then you go out and you do shit. I found so many friends via this.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah. I haven't lost any friends over it, but I've made a few.
I've lost a couple. Well, I see what I'm in a weird position where I tend to find that people want to be my friend for reasons other than being my friend. You know,
Oh, because you know something.
because I know
You
something.
know something.
Most of the friends that I've lost has been because I wouldn't do something. You know, like I refuse to. Most of it's I refuse to contact John for them or something.
No, yeah. Don't, stop. Leave the guy alone.
Yeah, he trusts
You
me.
know, and
He does not want to talk to you about the secret. He doesn't want to talk to me about the
oh
secret.
god, I'm sure. Yeah, it's the last thing he wants to talk about. I mean, especially after 40 years, and it probably was maybe back in like the early 90s. He probably maybe didn't mind so much because there wasn't that many people
Yeah.
trying to get a hold of him.
Oh man,
But there's been an explosion.
my last fun conversation with John was like 2.5 hours long. And we didn't mention the secret at all. And Rachel, because I was standing in my garage the whole time because I don't want to bother anybody in the house. So
Mm-hmm.
Rachel came outside after like 2 hours. She's like, "What are you guys talking about?" I was like, "We're going through our Spotify favorites and we're just giving each other music to listen to." He likes some weird, obscure shit.
Yeah.
So, and he didn't like any of my music, none of it. He liked one
Well,
band called
because
Polyphenia.
you're still young.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you find this is an oddball question? Maybe like every beginning, like January 1st or right after New Year's, there's an explosion of posting about different weird theories.
I wouldn't limit it to January 1st, but they come and go.
It seems
They
like
come and
every
go
New
in
Year
waves.
explodes.
What I've found is people come in and they start posting weird stuff, and either they get discouraged after about 6, 8 months. They either get discouraged because nobody's interacting with them, or they jump on the same boat as the vast majority of searchers, and those posts stop, and then they're repeated by someone else that's new. Um,
Yeah.
that's what I've found. But sometimes they just stick around forever. Sometimes they join weird alternative groups and then they just go off on their own and do whatever they want.
Yeah. And I like to listen to pretty much all theories because I think there's probably something to be gleaned from anybody's info.
I don't disagree.
I may not agree with that, but that reminds me that maybe I could approach something this way.
Yeah.
That's why the back of the book to me, I've read it and I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get how I don't get how it relates. And I've just had somebody I've met, they sent me their research and it's a ton. It's a lot to digest. And I, I was just looking for a list of which of the fair folk belong to which city. And now there's multiple cities or multiple, this fair folk goes with these 3 cities, and then there's how do you separate what you need to glean from the picture or the story if
Yeah.
it belongs to multiple cities?
So,
And
and
I
it's
just
weird
can't
to
wrap my
me.
head. I'm trying to.
It's weird to me because they seem to do like I was talking about before, where you just pick out one little thing, you ignore a little bit of everything else. The back of the book, people seem to do that too. Like they pick out a couple of words here and there from the page of the back of the book, but ignore the entire synopsis, right? Like the people who say, like, if you were to tell me that the back of the book is important, the easiest way for you to prove it would be the Chicago World's Fair, because it's a fair folk that's completely 100% about Chicago and about sort of the events that happened in the general area of where the cask was found, right? But the back of the book, people don't think Chicago World's Fair goes with Chicago. They think it goes somewhere else.
Yes.
And it's like, or like uh West Coast. I forget which one it is, but it's
The West Coast, yeah.
yeah, where it's like this is obviously about like freaks in San
San
Francisco.
Francisco.
Obviously, it's obviously about the people of San Francisco, but they're like, no, it's about New York or whatever. You're like, what? What are you even talking about?
I'm just trying to understand it, a little better first before I get into that. But because I think maybe there is something there.
Yeah, judging from what Byron has said. So here's my caveat. Here's where if I were looking at the back of the book, where I would be looking. Judging from what Byron said and from what the two people who wrote the back of the book have said, they said that the vast majority of the back of the book was done before The Secret was even a thing, right? And we kind of
And
see that. We kind of see that with the manuscripts. Like before the treasure hunt was solidified, Byron was sending back of the book pages to Joe Ellen to make her creations. So we know that was done before the treasure hunt was a thing, you know. But there are things about the back of the book which weren't. The scientific names were not done then, and the captions for the photos and the art were not done then. Those were obviously had to be done by Byron. So why are we not looking at that? You know?
that's why I want to. That's exactly what I wanted. But you need to know what belongs to what city. But if one belongs to multiple cities, how do you tell
Yeah.
what in the image you need to use for what city?
Yeah. I think unless it's obvious, it's not helpful. Because you can stretch things as far as you want, that's easy to do. The one, what was it, Mira Chimera, that people do for Cleveland? Because the quote is, I wonder what I look like from the back, or something like that. And it's sort of like the caption sort of fits what the Mira Chimera, with the description of it makes sense in context. But it also kind of makes sense in the context of Cleveland. Like, what does the wall look like from the back, counting everything from the back or whatever. But that's not a clue that if you weren't already digging up the cask, it's not something that would help you, right? Unless you had the cask in your hand, you wouldn't know that applies.
And honestly, if you're digging, you're not going to be reading the book while you're digging. You might have it with you, but you're just going to be going at it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, is it worth looking back there? Yeah. Would I make that central to my solve? No.
No. Yeah, well, I'm trying to get to Chicago and walk that once just to see what was seen.
Yeah.
I think that'd be helpful. Try to make it a trip with the wife, just to hey, we can just do this for an hour or two, and then we'll go out for dinner.
You should send Rob a message. He'll meet you out there and walk you through the whole damn thing.
Oh yeah, Jimmy. He was talking about maybe coming up here or meeting down there.
Oh yeah, Jimmy's in Milwaukee a lot, and he is such a good dude. He'll walk you through. The Lake Part Solve.
Yeah, we talking. We actually tied. We're talking not too long ago about when he was coming up.
Yeah,
but he might come up, or I might go down there. Or I know I was on with Erica on the anniversary podcast a couple of weeks ago, and we're talking maybe going to. I can't remember where it was now. I can barely remember last week. This was like 2 weeks ago. Going somewhere, but I'd like to just make it a fun trip, and just make this is all it's supposed to be fun. It's not
Yeah.
supposed to be argue with everybody. It's supposed to be fun. If you don't
Man,
agree, you don't agree.
90% of the time when you get to meetups, any kind of meetups, especially like sanctioned meetups or just a bunch of people getting together in a park, there is never any arguments. Even if you get like aggressive people from the group together at the parks, they are never aggressive in person. You know what I mean?
Because they're not behind their
They're
keyboard.
not behind that keyboard, and they know they could get punched if they're dicks in person. So like I've never really had a bad experience at a meetup. Everybody is always friendly.
No, and I'm all for it, and honestly, it's you can learn so much by just listening to other people.
Yeah, yeah. Like when you drop the bravado and you drop the I've always got to be right, you can learn so much. You can have so much fun.
That took me a long time to do that. As an adult, it took me a long time. I was a store manager in retail for a number of years, and then my wife went back to school at 40, became a nurse. But then she got breast cancer, so I quit my job because we had enough saved up. I had to be around there for her. That's kind of when that whole "I got to be right" thing went away. When I didn't have to deal with the general public all day long.
We had a comment. So Erica said Anderson meetup April 24th. I'm apparently going.
Yeah.
I'm apparently going to that. Man, Rachel got invited.
Okay,
I did not.
One, yeah.
I did not get invited, but Rachel did. So I've got to go with Rachel. And then there was another comment. Did JJP tell Josh Gates he was closest to a cask in Milwaukee? And yes, that's just a yes.
I mean, that could be like, was he right on it, or was he in the right park? Was he,
I mean, once you get into the semantics of that statement and trying to figure, I think you're just talking yourself out of like the most obvious answer.
Right.
It's like when people say, it's like when people say, well, Josh or JJP said that everybody was in the right general geographical locations of the cast, like, and then they're like, but that could mean that Milwaukee's really in St. Louis because they're geographically in the northern. It's like, what are you even talking about right now? Like,
somebody that was insisting that it was Madison because of the way the juggler was looking. It's not nuance.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get that a lot for Houston, and what is it like? Where is it that people in Houston? Is it San Antonio? Somewhere right next to Houston, Austin, maybe.
Oh, I have another friend that he's shown me a lot of compelling stuff for Dallas, like image matches, and it was very good. It was very good, but
I don't know. But my thing is my thing is as long as you're having fun, like what's the harm? You know?
Right.
I don't know. As long as you're having fun, and most importantly, you're not preventing other people from having fun. What's the harm?
My whole thing is don't be a dick, and you'll probably be okay.
Yeah. That used to be the only rule in the Facebook groups.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. So anyway.
Well, what else do you got for me?
Oh man, I got nothing.
I can talk about anything.
What you got like an hour left, dude. We've only gone for an hour. It's crazy fast.
I know. What are you gonna talk about? Bourbon, cigars?
So I don't really like cigars. I just smoke these because Rachel lets me smoke them in the house. And the only I drink scotch. I drink Johnny Walker.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Very nice.
The anniversary group gave me a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue last year. That was great. Never had that before.
Wasn't that only available overseas for a while?
No, it's just very expensive.
I have been trying to meet up with one of my good friends. We'll try to meet up like once a year for like a good night. I'll get like a nice big tomahawk, and we've been upping every year how much we spend on it. So we're up to, I think we'll be about $150 bottle this year,
Oh, nice.
and it's gone by the time we're done.
What I've learned meeting people from The Secret is I do not have like I'm not as big of a fan of scotch and bourbon as most people. There's this lady named Ashley who used to she's not around as much, but she used to mod the New Orleans page. She's from New Orleans. And I met up with her and her husband has a bourbon room where like he presents all of his bottles and it has like red LED backlighting everywhere, and he's like, "This bottle costs $400," and it's on the bottom
Why
shelf.
the? Well, see, if I'm buying it, I want to drink it.
Oh no,
I'm
he
not
drinks it.
investing it for the.
No, he drinks it.
Oh, okay.
He's like an anesthesiologist. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, yeah, when you got that cool doctor money.
Yeah, when you went to med school, you could afford it. That's what I should do. We should all go back to school, become doctors, just so we can afford good bourbon.
Or we could do a Scotch and secret meetup.
That'd be nice.
We have a Scotch tasting, and
that would be nice.
You know,
It'd just be like 5 guys there. Everybody else would be at the wine bar or something.
Yeah. Well, going back to the secret though, I've watched the Solve ones, the Hello Cleveland. That's a great introduction, but I'll put those on. So you should have started this with Hello Milwaukee.
No, so I've always wanted to do the Spinal Tap thing. Like every time we've wanted, because have you ever seen Spinal Tap?
Hello.
That was that was the thing. Walking through the backyard, hello Cleveland, hello Cleveland, hello Cleveland. I've always wanted to do that. Nobody, like, I knew no one would get the joke. I wanted to do it when me and John did the first Milwaukee podcast, but he wouldn't let me.
You should have said it's pronounced Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
That's Algonquin.
Yes.
Now, so that's what you got to do. You have to get something from like a movie, a pop culture thing for each city. I'm sure you could find one.
Yeah, except Roanoke and St. Augustine. What do you got for Roanoke? It's just like an Andy Griffith episode. And then St. Augustine has got, we had a really bad Rob Lowe movie.
Well, maybe you can go for something in Florida, like Laces Out Dan, or...
Yeah, we'll do that. That'll be the start of every podcast episode now.
There you go. But it does, I mean, it does help just to listen, and I've listened to them multiple times, and I'll hear something every time. Like there's one you were talking about, the threes. There's a 3 in the juggler's hand. There's 3 mentioned all the way through this puzzle. The 3 who live there. So I was trying to make a connection with threes. Thank you very much. That was in my head for forever.
Well, there's got to be little tricky stuff, right? There's got to be stuff like that. We just haven't figured it out yet. Because
I had this one theory that along with multiple wrong theories, that I called it the central image theory. Something from the central portion of the image was where you needed to dig, like the fence post. Mm-hmm. Milwaukee, I thought it was right by the laureate, because the laureate's in her hair.
Yeah.
There's one for Charleston that I have a gentleman who thinks it's in Marion Square. Mm-hmm. And until he said there was a Christmas tree up there every year, I didn't get it. But there's like a tree branch that goes across. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the crazy theories I had.
And it might be correct, because the thing that leads, because that works in some of them, but not all of them, right? And the right. Information that works in your favor is that the way John said that he and Byron did these, where he would do a few of them and then they would come up with a new idea and they would try something different, which is why I don't think there's like, maybe it works for some, but not all,
Yeah, I think the only thing that's going to work for all of them is just follow the directions. And I again the lake park. I'd love to walk that, either Jimmy or you or whoever. Just because I walk it with my book, I'll walk it with a notebook and I'll write things down. And I would like to take somebody outside of our group,
Mhm.
because I have my brother-in-law Jamie, I got my cousin Colin, I got a good friend of mine Mitch. He does a different podcast in the area about music, and then Matt and Josh that I met online. They were all kind of focusing on this same puzzle,
Yeah.
and almost all of them gone down with me at some point, and sometimes a couple of them, sometimes just one on one. But I want to walk somebody outside of that group and outside of my wife who's done it enough. And I keep reminding her right now it's still a $0 hobby. So until it starts
For
costing
now.
money, leave me alone.
Yeah,
But
like
walk somebody outside of it, because I want that. That's why I wanted to come on here and get some of that feedback, because I know there's stuff here that maybe I'm skipping, or maybe I'm not defining right, and maybe the definition is there, because it feels right when you do it to me. But again, there's confirmation bias or what have you.
you're right about Lake Park in that now that I think about it, most every walkthrough that I've ever seen about Lake Park either ends at the Lions, just completely, like they ignore the rest of the verse, or they assume that whoever's watching it already knows everything about Lake Park, so they don't explain the reasoning
Right.
behind the solution. Like people are always like, how is a lighthouse a compass? Right? That's very easy. What does a compass do? It does nothing but point north. What is the lighthouse's name? It's the North Point Lighthouse. And
North Point
it is
Lighthouse.
in the north of the park. So when it tells you things like walk southeast, how do you know you're walking southeast? Because there's a giant lighthouse that points north for you. You know, so you know exactly
Right.
which direction you're going and exactly. And then like Expedition Unknown hurt Milwaukee, the Lake Park solve. So because everything was just horrible about it. Like they're giving you clues in order, but they're going back and forth. Like they're like, oh, this is
Right.
the Lions, but 33's back here. But in this, like it's just weird. And then they ignore everything. But the
Oh, they don't give you they only give you the last portion of it.
mm, it's so boneheaded simple. Like you go up the steps, you walk past the compass, and as soon as you get past the compass, you are at a foot of a culvert. Go down the foot of the culvert, walk southeast. It doesn't matter if like people are always like, what's 100 paces? Because you know your stride's a little different. Doesn't really matter. You know, because once you get to about 100 paces, when I did it, it was exactly 100 paces, but some people it might be
Right.
different. But about 100 paces, you're at the end of a trail. You can't go. You can either go left or right, and it tells you which way to go. It tells you to go west. It tells you to go west. So you walk up this way. And when you get to the end of that trail and it tells you to look for a young birch, you are staring at a birch tree that's about 40 years old. You know? So it's kind of a dead simple thing, but no one's ever just walked it with a camera and sort of presented it that way.
I mean, I'd like to just walk it with somebody. Just feel, just to feel how it feels.
Yeah. Now, I'll give you this. The first quarter of that verse, the one until you get to ascend the 92 or until you oh god, now I can't even remember. I've been talking so much I can't even remember.
After climbing or ascend the 92 steps
Yeah, yeah.
after climbing the Grand 200.
Until you get to uh like cast in copper, everything above that in the verse is kind of shaky. It just doesn't really work. I
What
mean, it
and what
works,
do
but
they use
it's
for
kind of huh?
the cast and copper?
Lincoln,
Lincoln Memorial Drive.
Lincoln Memorial.
But pennies aren't cast; they're stamped.
Yeah, whatever. Harpsichord's not a harp. um,
Um,
but until
I
you
got
get there,
another.
it's really it's way shakier than that. Like that, like
Oh
the
yeah,
whole
and
view
but
the
that's why
three.
they never show that part.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, me and Phoenix went to Milwaukee and we tried to walk this, and we stood in front of the was it Mitchell Hall, We looked at the three
Yeah.
stories of Mitchell Hall. We walked down Kenwood, and we passed the three streets named after the people who lived there. And we were like, "This just sucks. Like this is dumb." And then you get to Cast and Copper, and you're like, "All right, now this kind of makes sense." So, but everything after Cast and Copper, the 92 steps, the Grand 200, the culvert, the
Well,
compass, the
the
bridge.
92 is still in debate if you don't count the first four. And
It's not the first four.
that's one thing.
It's either 92 or 91, depending on how you count it, because they built a landing. You can still see the 92nd step, but there's a landing that's
Okay.
flush with it. So they just built a landing. That's all it is.
Right. But I haven't walked it. So that's one of the things that was on my checklist to do is to actually, go walk it. I'd probably start at the top and go down and have
Yeah,
somebody
it's
pick me up
easiest.
because I don't want to go up there.
You don't have to do that. So if you go to 12 Treasures and you click on the media button, it'll take you to a
Hmm.
sort of photo sharing site. And there's a folder for Milwaukee, and there are pictures of every single step on that bridge numbered, and it shows you that it gets to the very end where that landing is, and it shows you the division, and
Okay.
they've numbered that one. I think that one's they've numbered number one, but you can count them
I
that way.
think that's why I've seen that. Yeah. But I live here. It'd be a nice day, when it's a nice day, just to go down there. Um, on an aside, there's a interview with Byron out there back from the Electronic Publishing Expo,
Yeah,
and don't let don't let the Amazon hear, but I think Jeff Bezos off them. It wasn't a car accident. Because at one point during the interview, he talks about how ebooks are going to be the next thing, and he said much like how Amazon you can order a book and have it shipped to your house. Well, these ebooks, the kids can just order it.
yeah.
So I think
Oh, I could do you one better. The name of his company was iBooks, and he owned
right.
the domain
Oh, Basil
ibooks.com.
and Steve.
And Steve Jobs. Yeah. So the reason we have so many problems with the secret today is because he bought the domain ibooks.com. If Byron had never bought that domain, we would not have 90% of the problems with the secret we have, because Brick Tower Publishing bought Byron's catalog for that domain, and then immediately sued Apple over the patent on iBooks and lost. They lost in court. But we would not have 90% of the problems right now if Byron had not bought iBooks.com. And I think it even still
That guy
goes to
was
Brick Tower. I think iBooks.
he was way ahead of his time as far as that goes. Because again, I'm in my 50s, and man,
Yeah, yeah, he
computers.
was he was
Probably
cutting
like when I
edge
was
with
in
that.
high school.
He was way ahead of his time. The shit that he was trying to do with like Palm Pilots and laptops, he couldn't do back then, but he could do it now. Kind of wish he was still around so I could see what he would come up with. But
Oh, I'm sure. Well, especially how the Chicago kids sent him stuff back and forth. I'm sure he would have probably nudged people the right way.
oh yeah,
Just, and some people think that they don't want it to be found because it keeps driving sales and whatnot. I'm like, initially, it didn't sell more than like 20 or 30,000 copies,
didn't sell many at all.
and now a lot of people don't even get the book; they just go online. You
You,
know,
I got a, I
I
got
do
a,
have
I got
a worn
a
copy.
oh, I got a correction in the comments. The first four came after the other 92 steps. I think Ricky in the comments is right. I think the landing that I'm talking about, that's flush with the first step, has additional steps on
Hmm.
it from the sidewalk.
Right.
But whatever. The point is the staircase itself, not including the newly built landing, has 92 steps.
Well, again, when was that landing built? I'm sure it was built after.
Yeah, it was the 90s. I think. I can't tell you exactly, but it's more recent than not
Yeah,
recent.
it wasn't there at the time. But I mean, like you said, the whole part of getting there sucks.
Yeah.
So,
But then again, like
I mean, I
it
know mine's not perfect either.
getting to Langone Park sucks, and getting to the Greek Culture Garden sucks, and so I don't know, but they're right, and they still
Yeah.
suck.
Yeah.
So who knows? I could be
Trying to see if
right.
there's
You
anything
could be
else I've
right.
written down.
We could all be right.
Oh, and I don't need to be right.
Oh, dude, you should
I
strive.
definitely. That's one of those things where I learned I don't need to be right.
Let's just say from now on, Mike's right. We're gonna put that in your lap.
I mean, that will make the world a much easier place for me. But
All right. Well, what
so, what
other?
other comments did they have about?
Oh, people are now saying in the comments are saying that you're right.
Oh, sweet.
So what
It's
do
not
you?
just me. I have a whole team that can disappoint you.
Okay, sweet. Mike's team, right? Do you look at any other cities besides Milwaukee?
I've Charleston a little bit. I mostly have studied the ones that have been solved
Yeah.
more than anything, and then Charleston a little bit because I have a friend there, a couple of friends in that area, and then uh, my friend Ryan, who's in Dallas, who's I've looked into that end of it.
Mhm.
I've joined a lot of the different groups because I'm trying to see. Like I'm in the San Francisco group, the Houston group, the Charleston group, the Roanoke group.
Yeah.
I know. I kind of look at them just to see what people are saying, and I don't know. I just try to gather information from where I can.
I mean, I think that's a good way to look at it, right? Like you have 12 puzzles, and if you kind of you don't have to do a deep dive into all 12, but if you kind of just get a general overview of how all 12 work, you start to notice patterns of the way Byron thinks and the way Byron does things, and it makes it makes wild guesses. It makes it a little easier to figure out if they have credence or not. Like if they're
Sure.
plausible. If you know the way he thinks and the way other things worked.
Well, plus it's nice to fall asleep to your voice, once or twice a week.
I keep trying to convince. Have you ever listened to Joe Ellen? That lady has the sweetest voice I've ever heard. I keep trying to convince her to
Yeah.
read nursery rhymes for the Calm app. Just because I would go to sleep
Twinkle,
to her
twinkle.
voice. Yes, dude, I would go to sleep to her voice every night.
But I can't do it every night. I mean, again, my wife's a nurse, and sometimes she has to work late, so then I can put it on,
Yeah,
and it's so soothing.
yeah. When she's there, she's like, "Who is that man with the just horrible voice?" And I can't sleep. Just apologize to your wife for me. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. And sometimes she'll go to bed before me, and I'll put it on out in the living room, and then I'll fall asleep there and wake up at midnight and go to bed.
Yeah. What kind of nurse is your wife? Is she like an ER nurse?
She works in outpatient rehab, or
Oh,
I'm sorry, inpatient rehab.
that's nice.
So
My
yeah, she
stepmother
she
was
goes
an
back to school
inpatient.
at 40. She went back to school at 40 to get her nursing degree.
Yeah.
She just got her bachelor's degree last year, so I bought her a nice diamond.
Oh, nice. Got a lot of respect for nurses like that. Like they take a lot of shit, both figuratively and literally, and they do
Yeah,
far more
you
for
would know.
people than you would imagine. Yeah.
and
My
and just in general, these companies, and especially the hospitals, are trying to get away with less staffing, but they
Yep.
want to keep the customer satisfaction scores up.
Yep.
Well, that doesn't go together.
No, it's all privatized now, so it's less about patient satisfaction and more about shareholders' profits, and it's crazy.
Yeah, let me tell you, when I went in for my burns last year, I had a great team.
Yeah. I got burns when I was 18. I got third degree burns on my left arm.
Oh God.
Oh yeah, it sucked. It was like 2, 3 weeks in the
Oh
hospital and a year in outpatient therapy. But now you can't tell. Like if I didn't show you where I was burned, you wouldn't be able to tell. Um, but
yeah.
it's horrible. I tell people like the worst pain being burned is like the worst pain you can imagine times 100.
Yeah, and I said it that after it all happened, I could joke about it now, but I mean when the pain finally kicked in, like because right away the adrenaline's pumping, and I'm like, oh wait,
Can't feel a
it's
thing.
not that bad, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
And my son was 20 at the time, he was home, grabbed me the ice packs, Then when the pain kicked in, just before the ambulance got there, I mean, if the devil himself would have came to me and said, "I'll take away your pain if you kill both your kids," I would have thought about it for a second.
Yeah. Yeah. It's bad.
It's
So I like to
it's
tell
ridiculous. And I
I,
have
li-
another.
I like to tell people that I was a firefighter and I got burned in a cool way, but I didn't. I was like 18 and it was a grease fire. And what
Oh,
sucked, this is where my screen name Burnstyle came from. So I was
no,
wearing a long sleeve T-shirt that said Quicksilver on it, on the sleeve, and
the polyester ones.
yeah, yeah, the cheap T-shirts, and the grease fire caught the shirt on fire and it melted the word silver into my arm. So my
Yeah.
friends said that I got burned with style, and it was burn style. But anyway, when I got burned, the fire department came because the house was full of smoke and everything. And they didn't call an ambulance. And I walked out to the firefighter and I was like, "Is there an ambulance coming?" And he's like, "Do you need an ambulance?" And I held up my arm like this, and all of the skin, it was like degloved, hanging
Oh,
off my fingertips. And I was like, "Yes." But
yeah.
you're right. You're so full of adrenaline, like you don't feel a thing. Like I didn't feel it. Didn't hurt. I was just like,
Well,
"Yes."
it's because you burned all your nerve endings off.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, I was lucky enough to have like a deep second, so I still had all the nerve endings there.
Mm. Did they do the water bath for you?
Um,
You would know.
well, they gave me ketamine,
Oh,
which I don't know how anybody could take that recreationally
I didn't get ketamine. I
because
got
it took
morphine.
away the pain instantly. And before they gave it to me, they said, "Okay, you have to get to the wheelchair, et cetera, et cetera." So they explained all this to me, and I know why because once they gave it to me, they started talking, and I looked at them like, "I know you're speaking English, but I don't understand a word you're saying. Am I supposed to get in a wheelchair?" And they nodded. I mean, but for 2 minutes later, boom, right back on.
Yeah.
And they could only give you a dose. But no, the water. By the time I got to the ER, uh, I looked down and it was the blisters were just. My wife has pictures of them. The first thing she did is she had to take pictures when she got when she got there. But it was so bad, and then they got me to the burn unit. They had to get my pain down because my blood pressure was like 220 over 180 for almost an hour. They're worried about me stroking out. And then it was ketamine, it was thorazine, it was morphine, all the enes. Um, and finally, it came down so they could debride it so then I can go spike right back up again. And then it was covered and wrapped.
So the debriding thing for me, it took a little while because I had sections where second degree, sections were third degree, and I had some skin that was still on and some that wasn't. And they have to clean in
And I
between
want to
those,
save it.
but they can't scrub it.
Oh,
Like it would hurt too much. So what they did was they took my arm and they put it in this steel tub full of water, right? Which is not bad. It's warm
oof.
water. It's fine. The water's just sitting there, and then they turn on bubbles, and it's like thousands
Oh,
of tiny bubbles running across your arm, and the bubbles gently cleanse in between where all the skin and everything is. It is the worst pain I've ever felt in my entire life. Like I could
oh,
not
I can't even
imagine bubbles.
imagine.
It was horrible. And they loaded me up
No.
with morphine and it still hurt.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That was by far the worst. Yeah. And like I said, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
Mm-mm. No.
Um, but no, the debriding, they finally got it down, and I had a good nurse, not the nurse I had, because it was dinner, so it's in the evening now. It's like 7, 8 o'clock at night, and she's like, "I'm really good at what I do. It's going to be one swipe, and we'll be done, but it is going to hurt." And it was just like she said. She was like, "All right, here we go." It was like, boom, wipe, done. It wasn't like there was no hesitation where
Yeah.
it's like, oh, that hurts. Oh, that hurts. No, it was just
One swipe and done. I had
one
a lot of
swipe and done. So yeah,
once the pain was like gone after the first couple of days in the hospital, it was fun because my friends from town would like There's this video place nearby the hospital, and they would go and get videos, and we would just go to the hospital with like movie night for like 4 or 5 hours. But other than that, like it's so
Yeah,
bad.
it sucks. It sucks. That I was lucky, I guess unlucky, I don't know, lucky or unlucky that I didn't burn like the ball of my foot or the heel. It was just kind of the arch on my one foot and then all the toes.
Yeah.
So I could still walk. So the very next day they had me up and walking.
Oh no.
Was completely wrapped like a mummy, each toe individually wrapped, and I go in for weekly changes. And but that, I mean, that's where to bring it back to the secret. That's where I went all my crazy deep dive theories.
Yeah. Being in the hospital
We
give you
have
time
nothing
to
else
do
to do.
that.
Well, I was only in the hospital one night. They sent
Oh
me
god.
home.
Oh no. Yeah. I was there for like 3 weeks or something. It's crazy.
No, no, that time I was surprised I was out that next day. Thought they'd wait to see worry about infection or anything, but no, they said you're cleaned up good and you can walk enough. Why don't you go home?
I wish.
But I was sitting there, couldn't do anything. I mean, I could walk enough to get to the bathroom and back, and I could walk around a little bit, but what are you going to do? I started watching TV and using the internet. And that's another thing I was going to talk about is how people use like Google Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't know what things look like back then
No.
from there. And you don't know what things look like on the ground, walking around. And, I encourage people, if you get the chance, if you're in that city, you need to go and walk it because you'll see things and you'll tell if this doesn't seem right or that doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
But for me, that's the big thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people make the mistake of they get this grand idea in their head about a city and they use Google Earth and they use stuff from the internet and then they make their vacation to go out to the city to dig a hole, right? And then they spend their entire time at their spot trying to work up the nerve to dig a hole and then, they either do or they don't and they get discouraged and they leave. If you're going to take like a vacation, if you're going to take a trip to go to a city, the first thing you need to do is just walk around. Walk some other people's ideas. Take the most common ideas. Just walk them. Just walk and
Yeah,
look. Don't look to disprove. Don't look to prove. Just walk and look. So you
just
get an
walk them.
idea. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I want to do.
No, that's the easiest. That's the easiest way to work on the secret is just walk around and look at things. Get a vibe of the city.
But
See what Byron would have seen.
and the
But
people that are online that I can tell you where this city is, this city is, this city is. I really those are the only people I really don't put much credence in or any credence in because there's no way
man, if I could tell you where a city
that you
was, I'd
know.
just go get it.
Right, right. And you know all these cities. Why don't you just go get it? You have the address. Go right for it.
Yeah, just go. It's not that hard. People make up such big excuses about that, right? Like it's, I can't take time off work, which I get, or I don't have the money, but I know where everything is. Like, dude, if I knew, if John Palancar called me today and was like, Charleston is buried right here, and I knew exactly where it was, I would walk. Whatever. Just drop everything. Let's go dig
Yeah.
that up. Cops could be all around. I'd just be
Well,
like, no, no, no. Give me a second. You can take me to jail in a few minutes.
I may or may not. My team I may or may not have dug some holes. And I did go on my friend Mitch's podcast. He's all about music, but he's a little older than I am even, but he remembers this and he kind of got into it with me. So I went on to see if there's anybody in the parks department that could give me an in on getting a permit to dig, to do it the right way.
Yeah.
Well, the response we got was somebody who's been working there for 20 years. He said the way the politics are nowadays, your best bet is just go like in the middle of the week, get a hard hat, get a vest. Nobody's going to bother you. And hypothetically, if I did that, it worked very well because hypothetically, we never got bothered at all.
Well, most of these are if you take St. Augustine and Roanoke and throw them out the window. We're not talking about those two cities specifically, but the rest of the cities, they got much bigger problems than a hole in a park. And as long as you are courteous, you fill your hole, and you don't cause any distress to anyone around you or to the park, they're
Right.
probably not going to care. They'll start caring when you become a burden. You know, if you're digging
When
four
you make a
holes,
mess, leave a mess.
yeah, any of that. But I mean,
Yeah.
San Francisco said something to the effect of like, "We're a big city. We got a lot of problems. Holes in the park are not one of them." You know, big cities have a
Right.
lot of stuff. New York doesn't care about holes in the park. They got other things to worry about. So as long as
And
you're not,
if
go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, if a cop comes up to you and says something, if you just say, "Hey, I've got a treasure hunt. This is," et cetera, et cetera, they're probably going to tell you, almost all of them, clean it up and get out of here.
Yep. Unless you
That's
give
my
them
opinion.
unless you give them a reason to care, they're not gonna care. You know,
Right.
or unless they're a dick, because that does
Yeah. Yeah.
happen.
It goes back to being dick.
So, but I mean, I think the reason that we preach to get permission is for the people who aren't like that.
It's the
You
right
know,
thing to do.
it's definitely the right thing to do. But I mean, there's always those people who, I mean, I'm sure you've seen it. If you've ever walked around Lake Park, you've seen holes because people just, for some reason, Lake Park is worse than anywhere else. There's someone that just goes out there and digs every single hole and then just leaves them open.
Yeah.
And those people ruin it for everybody else.
Yeah, I don't like that. You always clean up. You leave it looking better. And one of the places that we may or may not have been at, we cleaned up the whole flower bed. We pulled out a bunch of weeds just because it was kind of in our way, and we didn't want to do a half a job.
Yeah.
So we cleaned them all up.
Once you've dug enough holes, you get really good at filling them back in and nobody knowing you were there. Like the anniversary hunt people, I went to I went to Anderson when I knew there were a bunch of searchers there. Dug up the cast that was there, covered the hole, and then gave the cast to them the next morning and was like, "I dug the hole 4 hours ago." And they were like, "Well, we could just go behind you and figure out where you dug." And I was like, "Yeah, you try." And they couldn't. They couldn't find it. You know, knowing that I had dug the hole like 4 hours ago. So you eventually get good enough to where nobody will ever tell.
Yeah, I mean, you need a tarp, a bucket, what have you. I mean, hard hats,
That
vests,
you just need about
a
10
cone
minutes.
help. Yeah. And how deep? I mean, how deep do you think these things are? I mean, does it depend on the city? I know what's been said, but I can't imagine they're that deep.
Nobody's digging a
That's
3 foot
another
hole.
thing.
Yeah, nobody's digging a 3 foot hole. I think
The-
the thing that I've noticed with we know that we know that Cleveland was about 10 inches to the top of the cask, making it about 18 inches deep, the hole about 18 inches deep. We know Chicago was about the same, and we know that Boston couldn't have been 3 feet deep because there was a power line 3 feet down below it. So, but I, the thing that I've noticed with people coming to dig holes is they dig for like an hour and they dig this impressive hole and they're like, okay, it's this 3 feet. This has got to be 3 feet. And then you pull out a measuring tape and they're like 18 inches down. People
20
think,
inches.
yeah, people think that they're digging a lot deeper than they actually are. Like a 3 foot hole is huge.
Oh God.
So I think,
I, I'm going with the theory that he probably used a post hole digger, just boom, 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 boom,
yeah,
and down it goes.
I don't know because he was flying around, right? And you're gonna take a postal
But I mean,
digger
at that
and
point,
check.
you would just get one from every city,
Yeah,
you
you
know.
could just get one. So I don't
And
know. The story that came out of San Francisco was that he was using a foldable, like army kind of shovel, like a Boy Scout shovel. And you're not gonna dig a 3 foot hole with one of
then
those.
no, no, that's why I have a probe. We have a couple of probes, and that's the easiest way.
Yeah. So yeah, probes are easy. Just get a good one.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to get one of those that's screwed together. It's a solid 3 footer. I'm like, I don't need to buy a 4 foot one because it ain't going to be that deep. I think
No.
we've all agreed that it's got to be. I mean, the top of it's probably just over a foot down. Like you said, a 2 foot down max.
Yeah, that's what I would think. But what do I know?
And it, yeah. Again, here's my cask. I can't.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's. I think they're all probably in a park somewhere. Some people are like, you got to look at this. There was one Milwaukee person said it's in the flower, or it's, where you have the sidewalk and they have a little cutout for a tree.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be right there. I'm like,
that would be difficult.
Yeah, no, it's going to be in a park. It's going to be in a popular park.
Once you bury one on a ball field, like on the play field of a ball field, all bets are off with me. You can put it where, like I have no problem with people thinking it's next to a building or in a private area, or like not like a private area but like a semi-private area. I have no problem with the people. There's a bunch of people in New Orleans who think that one is buried in a planter box near a bank. I got no problem with that. After the ball field, sort of where it is, all bets are off. It's wherever.
Oh, okay. But I mean, still technically it's a park, though.
I mean, planter next to a bank in a park is a bank planter. There's a lady in Milwaukee that wasn't there like a newspaper article in Milwaukee where somebody thought it was a planter at a newspaper's office, and the newspaper just let them dig up the planter box?
That was, I think the people that like verse 5 for Milwaukee, lane 222, and it was.
Well,
there's the Journal Sentinel, and there's a magazine. Yeah, I remember something vaguely about that.
I remember there was a lot wrong with that, but I didn't have a problem with them wanting to dig in a planter box. Whatever.
I mean, how much credence do you put in the verse 5 for Milwaukee versus Montreal?
None at all. None.
I still see people bring that up, and I'm like, this Mitchell in Milwaukee. You have the Mitchell Airport, you have the Mitchell Domes, you have the Wisconsin Club, which was the Mitchell Mansion, you have the Mitchell Building, and I'm sure I'm missing one. I mean, it's so popular, and the Japanese clues. I wish somebody could explain those to me because they were translated from English to Japanese. Who knows if that was translated right?
I mean, they're probably translated right. We probably just don't understand it because none of the others are wrong, But maybe we just don't understand yet what is happening. I'm not sure, but you have such a perfect match for. I mean, I know this is going to sort of fly into the face of what you've been saying, but you have such a perfect match for just about everything in Lake Park. You have something from Lake Park on the path of the perfect match in the painting, and then you have John Palancar saying that thing is important. Then you have John Palancar saying that Josh Goetz was closer to a cast than he's ever been using that painting and that verse in that park. Then you switch over to Montreal, right? That sort of solidifies Milwaukee. Then you switch over to Montreal, and you have the same sort of pattern that you have in Milwaukee. You have a path that perfectly describes a certain section of Montreal, which leads you to a thing that's exactly in the painting that is like a perfect match for a thing on a building on this path. And then you look across the street, and there are words written in stone that are in the Montreal verse. Like, it works the same way as every other verse painting pairing. Both of them do. But when you switch the two, you break everything. None of that works. And then people from Montreal who use the Milwaukee verse tend to use the Milwaukee explanations. They just do it worse. They're like, oh, you climb up these steps, which aren't exactly 92, and it's the Grand 200 because it's Mount Royal and Royal Grand 200, whatever. And then you pass the compass, which is just a design on the floor, which is not a compass. And like it's just you're using the exact same interpretations for the Milwaukee verse in Montreal, but worse, like way worse. So I don't know. Anyway, but I always tell people, like, if you can switch the verses and you can get me back to those Lions, using the Montreal verse as at least as well as the Milwaukee one does, I'll get on board. But so far, nobody's been able to do it.
Yeah. No, I think, and I've heard you say this multiple times, verse and image are that's how the first three were solved. That's how they all probably should be solved.
Yeah.
From conception to publication wasn't like 12 to 16 months. I mean, I don't think, I could be wrong because again, I don't have one, but I don't think he had enough time to do a deep dive into all these statues and maybe a word on a statue, and you have to use this poem. I just think that's way, way, way too deep. And there are people that just love doing that. There may be a kernel of something in there, but I think you walk around, walk around with your book, you look around, you see something from, boom,
Yeah.
hey, that's on the painting. Hey, that's on the painting. Hey, this makes sense. I think that's the way to do it.
Yep.
And again, I want to go on this Lake Park walk with somebody who start to finish, and ask the reason why. And that's why some people may get mad at me because I ask why.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's the important part. Why are you doing it this way when it could be done a different way?
Yeah.
I mean, you might get the same result, but why are you doing it this way?
Well, I'll promise you that. So next time, sometime next year, we'll come up. We'll do something in Milwaukee, and I'll walk that path with you. If nobody else does it in the meantime, because I'm sure
Jimmy may come up here. And, yeah, I may go down to Chicago, meet them at some point. This is all from a couple of weeks ago, and we only talked once since then. But I'd love to go. And he said he'd let me hold the cask.
I got to come back to Milwaukee anyway, because last time I was there was for John's funeral, and me and a bunch of friends went to John's spot. John had a very specific spot. Everybody knows where that spot is. And we buried a bunch of stuff for John, and then found out that somebody came behind us and dug it all up. So we have to go and bury more stuff.
What a bunch of buttholes.
Yeah, it was kind of shitty. But, people are people.
Were they tailing you?
No, I made the mistake. Well, I mean, just like I'm making the mistake now of saying that I buried something at John's spot.
Well, it's gone.
Yeah,
it's gone.
It's gone. But the person that did it told me they did it. But I think they were, how people get into telling a story and then they forget who they're telling it to. They're just, telling a story. He was telling me about some stuff that he had done in Milwaukee, and he was telling me about digging up some stuff, and he was like, and I think I dug up someone's buried treasure. And then when he said that, he realized who he was talking to, and he realized what he dug up. Like he realized, like he knew he had done, because he was telling me about what he had dug up, and I'm just sitting there like, I have this like, I hate you face right now.
Really?
It was crazy. Yeah. So I was like, thanks for that. Thanks for digging up John's memorial and taking it home with you.
And where did you guys go to dinner that night? I heard you tell the story.
The
only place that was open.
Was it the Capitol Cafe?
Oh, Capitol Grill.
Capitol Grill. Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Capitol Grill. Like that was me and Bradley. After the funeral, came back to Milwaukee and nothing was open. Because it was, I think.
No, they were, especially downtown. They roll the sidewalks in at 7.
Yeah, everything was closed. So we just Googled restaurants near us, and we were like, oh, Capitol Grill. That sounds like a diner. We didn't know. So we went there, and like we walked in the room, and they have a coat room, and I think that's when we realized that we fucked up. Yeah, that was
a $70 steak.
My bill was $200. I remember that because I had to put it on a credit card. Bradley's was about the same, and we both ordered T-bones or ribeyes, and no, we ordered T-bones, and Bradley got asparagus or Brussels sprouts that were just horrible, and I got lobster mac and cheese, which was amazing. It was probably the best thing that I've ever had. Yeah, it's like $200 meals each that we screwed up on because we were expecting to like go to some
Yeah,
diner and just get like bacon and eggs or something for $10.
right. Did they have prices on the menu, or was it no
No,
prices on the menu?
no,
That's when you.
it's market price.
Yeah. Well, the market is there's no other restaurants open,
I remember
and
that the
yeah,
sides had prices. I remember that because like I think the lobster mac and cheese was like $32, and I was like, Jesus
no,
Christ, we
yeah,
fucked
that was
up.
about right. The Brussels sprouts are probably 20.
Yeah, but it was good. It was really good. I would 100% go back to that place, if especially if
There's
someone else
plenty
is
of good
paying.
restaurants.
If anyone would like to take
Oh,
me to Capitol Grill.
no, we can go down to carnivore. That's I've had the best piece of meat ever in my mouth down at carnivore. It
you
was
know,
not cheap.
I want to go on like a beer thing in Milwaukee. Like I want to go have
Oh,
Schlitz, but like the real
there
Schlitz.
are there are a ton of breweries, and one funny story. The wife, before she was a nurse, she was worked for they were like a beer bar and restaurant, and their Christmas party one year they took us to it was Milwaukee Brewing and for a brewery tour. Well, it wasn't a normal brewery tour because they were close to the public. It was just because he bought so much of their beer.
Yeah.
There was probably 20, 25 of us, and the tour started with a pint glass and said, here's the first beer station. Why don't you try these three different beers? And you think they'd give you a sample? No, they would fill your pint up. Let me tell you, the tour started. We went to the next beer station. I mean, they did teach us some stuff, but it was like one to the next to the next.
Yeah.
It was amazing. But they have Lakefront Brewery down here. There's multiple brewery tours you can go on, or you can go on a tour of good beer bars in the area. I mean, you got the Old German Beer Hall. You got a couple of places that specialize in beer.
Yeah. Let me try to find the place. We went somewhere. I bet I could find it. Milwaukee, because it was right next to an Ace Hardware. Because we walked to the Ace Hardware to to get a shovel. Let's see. Ace Hardware.
Do you know what side of town it was on?
Yeah, it was right near Lake Park.
They're probably in Shorewood.
Let's see.
Oh, and you walked there or did you drive there?
No, we walked there. It was a long walk, but we walked there.
Yeah, it could be Shorewood. That's right there.
Yeah, that's where it was. Village Ace Hardware Prospect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was definitely it. So
Oh,
there's a little restaurant somewhere near there on like the corner of a street. It's like a V shaped. Oh yeah. I'm looking at Google Maps now just so I can find it. But anyway, there's some little restaurant down there that makes its own sodas. It was the best. It was great. Me and John Hardipy went there for lunch one day, and we both got like just grilled cheese sandwiches and chips. And I don't know. That was really good.
sometimes when you make something simple like that the right way, that's all you need.
Yeah. And they had like I don't know. I guess it was all like no, I can't say that. Never mind. I'll get myself in trouble. Anyway, I would love to go, but I think my point was I would love to go back to Milwaukee and actually do some tourist stuff, like see what the town is about, because I think my opinion of Milwaukee has always been negative, but I think that's because every time I go to this same park in this same part of town, and you know just wander around this
Yeah,
park.
I'd be happy to give you a tour.
Well, thank you. That'd be
Decent
nice.
places.
We'll go on a pub crawl or something.
Yeah, I'll find a driver.
All right. Well, is
That's
there
one thing I don't.
you don't drive in
That's all I
Milwaukee?
got. No, I don't. If I'm having a cocktail, I don't drive.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
mess
there's
around anymore. It's so cheap to get an Uber or a Lyft.
yep. I was gonna say Uber's everywhere. Kathy Vale says
But
every
I got
time I go
nothing
to
else
South
for you,
Carolina,
sir.
I end up at a rundown mall. All right, nothing else? Well, then we can end
No, sir.
stream. Um, do you want to hang out just a bit after I click stop?
Sure.
Okay. Well, then next week, I think. So, just a roundup for everybody. There's a Seekers Summit coming up in March. It's on Facebook. I got to go to that because I'm speaking on some panel. There's a meetup in Anderson, South Carolina for the anniversary hunt coming in April, and then also sometime in March, I believe there's a meetup in no, yeah, sometime in March there's a meetup in Charleston, but that hasn't been announced yet. And other than that, we'll see you guys next week. I think with like Rob and Ken and everybody. But anyway, all right.